Okay, class. What this topic is about is studying or getting properties. Okay, we're going to find properties of a box plot. And I think this is just a kind of almost a little bit reminder of something you may have studied in the past, but I would like to identify it very quickly. There's something called the five number summaries, which we call the low value, the first quartile, the second quartile, that's Q2, sorry, and that's Q3, and the high value. You are allowed to estimate based on what you see. So you could say that the low value equals 30. Quartile 1 appears to be a little bit more than 50. Maybe you could call it 52 if you really wanted to get down to it. And this is also called the median. Quartile 2 is the median. And you could estimate here and you say that's 70. That looks about 75. Quartile 3 is a little bit past 100, not a little bit, maybe you might want to call it 103. You are allowed to make educated guesses about it. So, probably the best way to say approximately. So, this is how you get a sense of what values the box plot is talking to you about. And of course, the high value, a little bit past 120, but not quite 130. Let's call that about 125. So, that would be a good set of numbers to start with. Now, there's more to talk about, and the thing about the properties of a box plot is that it's based on quartiles. And what are these quartiles? What does this Q1, Q2, Q3 mean? Okay, one thing we can say is when we start with Q1, if we say Q1 is approximately 52, whatever the value might be, what we're saying is this means, so let me just put an if here, if Q1 is approximately 52, then 25% of your data is less than or equal to the value 52. That's what it means. And then you would go and do the others. Q2 is approximately, we said, is approximately 75. Then 50% of your data is less than or equal to 75. And then, of course, I'll do Q3 here, and I'll put a little quotes. The quotes just mean it's the same thing. So Q3 is approximately equal to 103. Then 75% of your data is less than or equal to the value 103. And that clearly means the high value, which we call Q4, but nobody ever talks about Q4. We're just going to say if the high value is approximately 125, nobody says Q4, we just say the highest value or the high value, then 100% of your data is less than or equal to the value 125. So I hope that gives you just a preliminary of what these quartile values are. Now, there are other special ranges of information we can identify. One is called the interquartile range. This range is not an interval, it's a range. And it's based on the value of your third quartile minus your first quartile. So it's not the interval, it's a range of 103 minus 52. And if I'm doing my math right, well, Walter, get this one, 51. We're all in agreement. Okay, so what we're saying is it's 51 units. Now, I don't know what the units are here. I didn't label them as feet or student or number of times people are eating pizza or whatever, but it's a unit, some unit out there. Okay, and one important thing to talk about box plots is that it does use quantitative data. Okay, so that's an important key fact. Box plots use quantitative. Quantitative, I hope I get my spelling right, data. Okay, that's a big one, but that's why I refer to units, because if it was categorical data, I couldn't measure it, but this is measurable data. Now, What other factors do we need to understand? Interquartile is also, now we call this the IQR. So I want you to understand these are the same thing. The IQR represents the middle 50% of your data. And that kind of makes logical sense because if I look at it, it's from Q1 to Q3. So this part here, here to here would represent 50%. There's two boxes. So I hope that's straightforward. I'm just trying to think of one other key thing to notice. There are no individual dots in this histogram, so you're not seeing anything here. If there was, now let me make a little note here as I explain this. If there was a dot out here, then this value would be considered an outlier to your data. Okay, but in this particular case, since we don't see a dot, all right, we're going to say there are no outliers. Okay, I hope this was a really quick review for you guys. I hope it helped a little bit. Check out my next video where I go into some other details. Thanks for watching.